Hi, welcome to Issues and Insights. I'm your host, Melanie Parker. With me today, I have Radcliffe Mayor J.J. Duvall. As you can see, we are donning our masks, and we try and be honorable and respectful. It slips when I'm talking.
Yeah.
And protect everyone and play our part. We even here when we came into the studio, we took our temperature and we noted that. I'm going to invite you to take your mask off, JJ.
Yeah, well.
Just because, one, it's miserable, and two, we are at an acceptable social distance.
We are.
We were just talking about how normally we'd greet each other with a hug. We'd go back years to back when your hair was all dark.
Yeah, I know.
My hair was all red. But this is just the world we live in now.
It's a new norm, and you know, it's a different time, and it is sad because you know you and I have known each other for years, and we'll see each other and give each other a nice hug and say, "How are you? How's things going?" And now we're just like, "Oh, see,
hey,
say back."
Take your temperature.
So it was
well,
good.
you know, you got your UK, you're representing.
I've
got my coffee, a gift from a
I
friend,
see that.
and so they have become kind of an accessory.
They have.
So that you know, it's a fun little thing getting those.
I think people that probably know Gina Ryan knows that she would not allow me to give her one of these.
And you offered so graciously.
I offered to give her a UK one, but she didn't want to take it, so my feelings were a little hurt.
Right.
Big Louisville fan she
is.
So,
a huge Louisville fan. Her office here will demonstrate that. So welcome. And we can breathe. That's good.
Yeah, it's good.
So how is all of this affecting your role? Personal. Let's make it personal for a second.
Yeah.
Your role as a leader. How?
Well, I know. You know, and I was thinking. Actually, when you came in, I was on the phone out in my vehicle, and I thought, God, I haven't seen Melanie, and it's been months. You know.
Right.
And I think usually we'd see each other maybe at a chamber luncheon or a function or something to shoot out. And so everybody over the last ever since it started, I remember back in February, January, we started hearing about it, and we started hearing more and more and more. But I think everybody that at least I'm close with, or that I personally, that I know or talk to, that's in some kind of leadership position as far as elected, never thought we'd ever be in a situation, and I'm with everybody else in the entire country, but never thought we'd be in a situation where we're facing not only hardships, unemployment, the COVID-19, social injustice, the things that we're faced with right now is not the norm. No. And so in a matter of several months, we've all had to relook at how we operate, our paths forward, our budgets, how we police. And I think it's been tough. It's been tough. And it's not that it's tough because we can't make, these are uncharted territories that we all are kind of laying the groundwork for and trying to do the right thing and making sure, because everybody has an opinion, as you know.
Yes,
and so trying to do what the majority wants and try to do the best we can as an elected body. And it's been different. It's been tough.
Yeah, it's been tough. When it first started, we all quarantined ourselves, self-quarantined. I took even an extra step back because I wanted to be able to visit my children and grandchildren.
Yeah.
So I made sure to keep myself completely protected so that I could comfortably go into my children's homes to see my grandchildren. That's just not something I could give up. Now, if I'd had any type of interaction with the public, I certainly would not have done that. But it's tough. You miss the hugs. You miss we are social beings.
Yeah, and not really knowing what, there's so many different things out there, and there's so many different, and we all have time to sit on our phones or be on the internet, and so,
right. How many phones do you have in that drawer?
I don't know. I think maybe 5, but 3 of them are going off. I think, but and so
it's just part of the job.
Just part of the job, and so we sit here and we try to figure out. And of course, I have a 92-year-old father, healthy as an ox, but you don't want to be the thing that causes that to end for unnatural reasons.
Yeah, he's compromised just by his age.
So you try to do everything you can, and of course, in our job, just like my counterparts here in Hardin County, we come in contact with a lot of people. But really facing, being able to have these Zoom meetings, being able to reach out, and the meetings that we do have, doing phone calls, it's really changed the dynamic of how we govern and how we operate. And so I'm not going to lie, I've enjoyed the Zoom meetings. Sometimes it's a nice polo top or a tie, and I have shorts and, tennis shoes on underneath.
That can go wrong. I've seen the videos, not with you, but on Facebook or whatever, where, they've got the jacket on, the tie, and they're in shorts or whatever.
Yeah, so, but, I've got a great city council that has allowed me to operate day to day. They trust, just about I wouldn't say everything I do, but they give me enough faith. They have
Sure.
enough faith in me.
Well, you have such a great working relationship.
We do.
From the outside looking in, I can say I see that
Yeah.
that you all just really, there's a lot of moving parts, and everyone really meshes
They
well.
all, each of them have a unique perspective on what they do in the community.
And that's what you want
and
with
so
leadership. Yeah.
They bring it back to me, and they've allowed me to work. Have we had hiccups? Absolutely, but
Well, you know,
that's part of what we do.
Like
and
you
so,
said, we have all just been thrown in. I am a marketing director, and I am old school. I am a relationship
let's get out and talk to people. Let's see people. Yeah.
So I real quick had to figure out how to do Zoom meetings and bomb videos and all of those things. So hopefully you have like an IT department that can help.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some things.
Yeah,
you have
they've
to
done
do
it all.
yourself.
I just have to hit a button. Yeah, absolutely,
yes.
absolutely. They, but you know, it's been challenging. You know, right now we're in the middle of our new upcoming budget, and so you know what we face, just like every other, just like you in your personal life, or us in our city operations. We really had to. Now our budget is tight already. We operate with about a $13 million budget, and that's with our stormwater. Being included in that, about a $12 million operational budget for general fund. And so coming in when the shortfall started coming up, now we knew by probably February, March, when our quarterly payments would start coming in, we knew those would probably be okay. But what we were concerned about at that time was our occupational tax, because people being laid off, unemployment. And then the federal government, of course, extended the your tax deadline, which was April 15th. To July 15th, which that shortfall, of course, we extended ours as well, and that shortfall then fell in to us as well. So whatever we anticipated may come in through the business license and the filings through April 15th pushed out into next year's budget.
And that is something that the layman's never even think about.
Yeah, it's
wow.
You know, and you start looking at our police department, you start looking at all our fire department and all those budgetary concerns. We can't predict. We didn't know what would happen.
Sure.
And so what I chose to do was we had some people that were retiring. We had some people that had left. And so I started freezing those positions to where we wasn't hiring for those jobs.
So no one got laid off.
No one got.
Just if they went out, you didn't replace them.
Yeah, no furloughs.
Okay. That's good.
And we actually had several. We had a couple in the police department jobs that weren't filled. We had several in Public Works, because Public Works and Parks and Rec is probably our highest turnover. And so started freezing those jobs. We had our city engineer who took another job closer to home, which I was able to hold. And so doing that and helping offset. Now, one of the things, like I said earlier, that working good with the council, in that previous year budget, which would have been 19-20, because we're in 2021.
Sure.
But in 19 and 20 budget year, we had leftover money. I didn't spend all the money.
Wow.
We had about, a lot of times people think in the budget and they wonder why you do that. Well, I don't like to touch reserve funds, because reserve funds are used for many other things. Could be economic development, could be for shortfalls, of course, in the budget to offset costs. But you never want to balance a budget off of reserve funds, because that's not a steady revenue.
Sure.
Maybe you take a little bit out to buy. It's like a savings account. You
Yeah.
take a little bit out to fix air conditioner. You take a little bit out, maybe do this, but
Something you really need, not
but you
necessarily
don't
you want.
do a reoccurring
Right,
cost.
right.
And so we saved about 200 and I believe it's about 230,000 that we did not spend.
Good.
And so a lot of that money we used, instead of pulling out a reserve, kind of putting in a rainy day fund, and if we needed it was there. Well, we didn't go through that money at all. And so that helped offset some of the loss that we predicted would come in through this 19 and 20 budget. Then we take into account the hiring freeze that we did. That saved quite a bit of money as well. So when we ended this fiscal year, we ended the fiscal year in a pretty good note. Now, I won't know the final number because our June payables don't get paid out to July 10th. So once all that gets done, our CFO gets all that finalized, I'll have a better understanding of where we are. But the good news was we didn't come in, we went upside down in our budget this year.
Great.
But what happens, of course, in the 2021 budget, and everybody watching that knows budgetary items knows that it's all a prediction. And this is the first year I think we've ever had a 2-cycle tax year, because July 15th will fall in April 15th next year.
Right.
And so, our budget may be a little bit higher there, but with our insurance premium tax, with our occupational tax, and the other things that we collect, we're hoping to see the budget pretty smooth and easy. But some of these, I'm still in a hiring freeze right now.
Which
So,
affects a lot, doesn't it?
It adds up.
feet on the ground out there, and
You know, we'll talk a little bit about police here in a few minutes, but just in my police department alone, I'm 6 down right now, and so that's with some people retiring. We have some injuries, and some people have just left to take other jobs. So you know, you start adding that up. You know,
it adds up.
It adds up, and so some of those savings we're able to help. The main thing is we can't raise taxes right now.
No.
I don't think it's an appropriate time to even talk about that or do that.
Your name would be Mud.
Oh yeah, it would be awful. It would be awful. But you know, ultimately, it's becoming upon the elected officials to make sure that our roads are still safe, that we're still policing, that we're still protecting on the fire, that we're still offering the city services, and that our residents don't see any cuts, you know, being affected.
And I think that. What I am gleaning from this, and what I want to point out to the audience, is that we are able to self-quarantine. We're able to isolate ourselves, but the city goes on.
Yeah, we have.
You
to
know,
operate.
you all still have to fix the roads and police the folks who need help and all of that. So you all are working hard.
Yeah, you know, I was out with my public works director the other day, and we typically have anywhere from 4 to 5 guys mowing on a mowing crew, and some of those are, you know, Josh Lindblom, jailer down here, would loan us some of his helpers, and you know, they come up, and we had a good guys that came up. They weedy, they work hard, they're doing what they need to do,
and happy to do it, I'm sure, to get out.
And you know, that all's been kind of cut back.
Has it?
Yeah, and so, you know, we went from having, you know, 4 to 5 guys to having 2 guys. When you have 2 guys that having to maintain the right-of-ways, all the drainage basins and everything, you're starting to see the grass get a little bit taller than normal.
Yes.
Well, we're in the middle of limb pickup, and this is some of the issue that we face. So, you know, people that are watching this saying, well, my limbs have been out there for, well, we started picking up in July. We have 2 crews running. Well, part of those 2 crews that are running also help mow. So now they're picking up.
You have to prioritize.
Yeah, because typically we would have those guys on the mowing crews.
Wow.
But or we would have our helpers from the jail, and so see it's and I know when
it
people
affects everything.
When people look at it, they don't realize they were like, well, that grass is looks a little taller than usual, or those limbs ain't been picked up. Well, when you start getting those resources, we have about 15 employees in Public Works, and we're down 2 right now, and so again that adds up. But that's part of the hiring freeze that I have to make sure that our budget's going to be. So, you know, if people like just have to be, it just has to be patient. Yeah, just have to be patient.
Yes.
And it's upon us to explain that as much as we possibly can. But it's also, you know, on the residents to understand why it's like that. So, you know, you want your taxes low. You want to keep everything operational. You just have to kind of sometimes be patient.
Yeah, there's
not that anybody's complaining a lot, but we do get a couple calls. You know,
well, you know, I watch videos on Facebook, and it's not people in Radcliffe, but I do see, or E-Town or Hardin County, I do see the video trolls, the people who get up in the morning thinking, what can I complain about today?
What is there going on today?
But yeah, overall, I think Hardin County has wonderful citizens, and people honor and respect you and your role, as well as the other mayors in Hardin County. But I could not, and I told you this before the cameras turned on, I would not want to be in a leadership role. Even before all of this happened, but especially now. So I really, really plead to everyone to cut you all a break and you know, trust that you know you are experienced. You've been a mayor for a long time. You know what you're doing. Just trust the process.
It's sometimes, and you know, the process that moves quick, and a lot of times we encourage people to send us messages or emails.
Sure. I know you're open to listening.
And I don't always see message on Facebook. I mean, I messengers. A lot of times, some people message me on Messenger on Facebook. If people don't know what that is, it's a private messaging thing on there. And a lot of times I don't check because sometimes it comes through and you don't realize if it's a fake. It's a, you know, you open it up and then it sends 15. You know what I'm talking about, the fake things. And
there's so much of that.
But you know, if you can like send an email, my emails are really easy. It's just mayor@radcliffe.org or my name JJDuvall@radcliffe.org, and you know those emails come directly to us or my deputy mayor, and we try to answer them the best we can. And a lot of times, you know, I had a lady last couple of weeks ago who wanted a street light put up, you know, and I honestly, she sent me a message. I left, went on vacation, completely forgot to get back to her, and she was a little upset. And I just told her I had a lot going on. I'm sorry. I apologize. And after I looked into her situation, where she wanted the street light was actually in the county. It wasn't in the city limits of Radcliffe. But once we got the understanding, I gave her my cell number and said, if you ever have any problems in the future, just directly text me. And
right. And how many mayors do that?
Yeah, and I was like, I'll take care of it. And she was very polite about it, and we had a good understanding.
We're very blessed.
But sometimes
here.
we get a little busy and things get kind of pushed down in the bottom of the pile. But a quick email saying, "Hey, don't forget about me," sometimes goes a long way. So.
And I challenge folks to look at the bigger cities and outside of Hardin County, because this is my home, Hardin County. This is our bubble. Yep. How many mayors do that? Well, and I'm sure there are some.
Yeah,
but
to your point, I think that's what's great about our community. If you lived in a major metropolitan city or a large city, you don't always, you talk to people that are well down. You never get the opportunity to try. Anytime I speak or spoke to kids or spoke to people before all this happened, we're here. You see us in the grocery, you see us at the gas station, you see us at the lumber yard.
You're at the ball field just like everybody else.
Everybody's there, and so you have the opportunity to come up and talk and have that personal connection, where in some of these bigger cities, you don't get to talk to your elected officials, your chiefs, and address problems. And I think we have a good relationship with our community.
Great.
We have a good relationship, of course, with Mayor Gregory's and Mayor Ogden's and Judge Barry's. So I think collectively, and Billy Ash, by the way, but collectively, I think all of us have a great working relationship.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So let's talk about the police force.
Yes.
How's that going? And you say you're down a couple. Yeah. So I'm just asking everyone to behave.
Yeah.
Just behave. And only call the cops if you need to, because they're stretched a little thin, but always happy to serve. It's
obviously, we're meeting here July 15th, 17th.
Yep.
And so this video, for people that are watching, we're in the middle of a lot of I guess, police reform, discussion on policing, and direction for future and how we get there.
Right.
Now, over the last 2 months, I have met with several organizations, several people in my community to talk about this. And this is not something that I think some people do it that way. In this case, I'm trying to navigate it in a manner that everybody has an opinion on this. I mean, I haven't talked to one person that doesn't have an opinion on it.
Right.
But doing it the way that we think we need to do it. I have a great chief. He's been there 27 years,
That's
I believe.
Amazing.
Started off as a patrolman, and now he's chief. So he has seen the community. He's from the community. Jeff's a Meade County boy, but moved over here and started his career and has been here his whole career. Our captains are all the same: Willie Wells, Mark Skis. They both have a number of years. I think Willie's probably got 30 years.
Wow.
So Willie's a North Hardin grad from here, and so our we're embedded here in this community.
Yes.
And so some people have taken what they want to do or meetings or stuff because they haven't seen meetings or you haven't seen us post pictures and all this stuff. Doesn't mean we're not working behind the scenes, and that's so we can try to do this the right and correct way. This is not a publicity stunt. This is not just so we can get a photo and show that we're trying to do something. The real work happens when the camera's on, as the saying goes.
Right.
And so one of the things that we have done, just in discussion of transparency, we ordered 40 new body cams. Now we got there's Axon, there's many different camera companies out there, and the cost of the cameras, which Jeffersonville mayor from Indiana did, I think it was about a week or two ago on WDRB, did a story about their getting by. It's expensive. I mean, Jeffersonville has a pretty good budget. I think they're about 50,000 people, and they're having a hard time buying for everybody. So what we ended up doing was doing a lease program. We'll get all the cameras, but we're purchasing them. So it's kind of like a loan, but we'll own them at the end of it. And these cameras are all state-of-the-art. They're all new.
Good.
Redaction. And a lot of times you don't realize on the redaction means if I pull you over, my body cam's on, it tells your driver's license, your address. There may be a minor in the car that the camera's picking up and stuff. So if somebody wants to come in and get that, we got to redact all that information for the public to have. And it's nothing they're trying to hide. It's just you don't need people to know your driver's license number. You don't need to know your address. You don't need. Okay.
I don't want my grandchild's picture out there.
That somebody can come in. It's open records request. Yeah. So we have to have those redaction things, software, storage. There's a lot of things that
we don't think about.
That
all do.
That come with that. And so when the budgets are tight, but it was important. The chief and I got together just literally before a lot of this started happening and really coming to fruition on the police reform. We wanted to make sure that our department was doing everything we could to be transparent. Good. And so we ordered 40 new body cams. That's 40 sworn officers that we have in the department.
And that's perfect because that is protecting the public and protecting the officer.
Yeah, you know,
everybody wins.
When you're doing something right, you shouldn't have nothing to hide.
Right.
And so it can clearly identify what happened or what transpired. Now, with that comes the policies and procedures of operating that, which we already had in place. The body cams must be on and so forth. All that is already put into place. The other thing we did was our taser policy. So tasers is a non-lethal force, and we've gotten them for many years. But one of the things that we looked at was the new tasers that we're ordering. So we're getting ready to come up on our 5-year rotation. Tasers have about a 5-year span. Okay. And so we looked at our taser policy, and the tasers that we ordered that we will be getting in actually have a system on there to where our chief or any captain, whoever, will have the software to monitor that taser. So questions have become, how long has somebody been tased? In the heat of the moment, the officer may not realize, hey, I held on for 2 minutes.
There's
I held
adrenaline going.
Yeah, 20 seconds. We don't know. And so it shows us a dry fire, which is a trigger pull. It shows a discharge, which is it being fired, and it shows how long that taser was used. And so those are some of the small things that we're able to do that I think will help in a case where something ever happens. Right. We hope nothing does. We have a great relationship with our community. We did have a march, June 10th, I believe the date was. 2 ladies came in and said they'd like to host one, and went off without a hitch. It was very well taken, very well done.
Good.
They did a great job with it. We had a great turnout. I was there, Chief was there, mostly all the council members could attend showed up, and we were there to listen. We were there to hear what the message is, and then interact.
Folks just want to be heard and have their feelings and concerns validated. Yeah. That's important.
Yeah, and we protected stop the traffic work. Good. And overall, it turned out great. We couldn't ask for a better response. And since then, Maya and Chloe have both came in. I've had several conversations with them, and they want to be involved and they want to be a part of. And so, some of the other things we've had is recruitment. I can say that because of that, during that march and some of the interaction, we've had 2 people put in for police. So
really,
yes, they're in the process. And
I love that.
Yeah, it really was. And that's what we want in our community.
Sure.
Both are, and I don't say this in a bad way, but both are North Hardin grads. Not that that's better than anybody else. But
well,
I'm just
you're
saying,
Radcliffe. And
they're invested in the community.
Sure.
And so that was a good thing. They're in the process. They're going to go through the process. We'll see how far it gets. Now the academy's closed, so we got to kind of wait to get them down there. But then those are the good things that come out of positive discussion, positive interaction.
Right. And I think it takes everyone, and that's a perfect example. How can I make change? How can I contribute to change? How can I make a difference? And those 2 individuals saw a future in it, that's honorable. Yeah, and I like that.
I don't want to mention their names just because if they don't make it, I don't want something to happen. But ultimately, their response was, if I want to see change happen, I've got to be the change that makes it happen. And so,
well, kudos to them.
Yeah, I was like, awesome. That's exactly what we want. And
right. That's what we need. We need everybody to step up and say, hey, what can I do?
Yeah, and we're looking at our racial profiling. We have. One of our council members is assisting us with that. Good. And he's taking a look at that and seeing if there's things in there that we can change and modify and do. We've one of the things several of the council members had asked for, we have a specific budget line item for training that is the typical training for all officers to keep up their hours and everything. Well, we added more money to that so we can get some of the bias training, some of the training needed, and we're going to do it for all staff, just so we make sure that we're doing everything we need to be doing.
Like sensitivity training and
well, it's cultural bias,
gotcha.
Racial, making sure that we're doing what the officers need, and Councilman Palmer, and I'll just put him out there, does a great
he's awesome.
Illicit bias training, and he's offered to assist, and so we're taking the steps we think we need to do. We have a great community. We haven't had any issues, but if there ever is in the future, we want to make sure that we were prepared and that we have everything in place and the policies and procedures are there.
Yes, it's better to be prepared in the front end than to try and fix a problem on the back end. Well, definitely.
Now, of course, I feel we have great officers. We have I really think our officers do a great job. They try to do their job and do it the right way.
They're human.
Yeah, and we're going to make mistakes, and we've always told them if they do their job and do it right, we'll protect you. We'll do everything we can to support you, but make sure you're doing. Our job is to de-escalate a situation, not to escalate a situation.
Right.
And so,
amen.
Yeah, it's like So hopefully, we're doing what we need to do, and I'm hoping the public sees that.
Right. I think what will probably stave off a lot of the problems is for the officers to know in the front end what is acceptable and what isn't.
Yeah.
And like you said, we're going to protect you if you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, and that's what the policies and procedures are there for. And those policies are there for that reason, to making sure that the officers are doing what they need to do. And we encourage people, and I've been, like you said, I've been doing this for a while, and we'll get the calls. Well, I wasn't speeding. That officer gave me a ticket. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the ones that are coming in and saying that there was a real, truly issue. Let it so we can look at it and see. But yeah, definitely, I'm proud of our department. I'm proud of our chief and staff. We just got to make sure that we're doing and have in place. It's upon us, the mayor and the council, that the policies and procedures are in place. That those. And I talk to our chief daily almost. I mean, it's so we want our community, and the whole point of this conversation here was to let the public know that we're doing what we need to be doing.
Platform.
Yeah, we're doing exactly what we need to be doing.
The police need to police the police.
Yeah, we're addressing it. Yeah. We have had numerous conversations, and we're making sure the policies and procedures that have been passed by the council, that's been approved by the state, are being done. And with our body cams, our tasers, training, and the good officers that we have, hopefully our community will move forward in a positive manner.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I see that happening, and I really want to encourage the public, since we have this platform, to not hold other bad seeds, their actions and bad choices against the police in our community who are doing it for the right reasons and if they're not, call JJ Duvall.
Yes, please,
in Radcliffe,
I'm sure,
and let him know, because he will listen. And that's we're all accountable. Everyone needs to be accountable for their actions, their choices, their decisions across the board, regardless of your zip code or your tax bracket. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, we're looking, like I said, our community is a very diverse community. We've said it for many,
I love
many
that.
years. Yeah, I'm born and raised there, and so I'm raising my kids there. I'm a third generation. My kids will be fourth generation raised in our community. So it's a good place. Is there problems? Absolutely. There's not a community in the United States that have problems, but it's how we address them. I think it's how we address them, how we move forward, and how we react to those situations is what kind of makes us who we are. So
I agree. I know I couldn't do it, because if somebody came at me and spit in my face or pushed me or whatever, I am taking my earrings off. I'm not gonna lie, that's just how I'm wired. So I don't.
I'm a middle child, so I'm the figure it out.
I'm an only child, so I don't play. Yeah. So respect for the folks who, suit up, badge up, get up there and out there and do what they need to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we're moving good in a positive direction. I don't know how much time we got left. Are we getting close?
We have a couple minutes.
I know. Well, one thing I want to touch on too is our parks and rec system.
Yes.
Yeah, I know we had talked earlier about this, but so we're kind of back open. Saunders Springs is back open. I remember when I closed it, we did it because everywhere else we had to. We had to make sure everybody's following things, and we're back open again.
And that is a Hardin County treasure.
Yeah, it is.
Not just Radcliffe.
Yeah,
it really. If you all have not been to Saunders Springs, Google it, find it, go to it. It's amazing.
The waterfalls, the cool being under the shade, the trails. Yeah. Now we had a little issue this weekend.
That's just part of it, man.
It's a spring, and so as much rain as we had over the last, it was a gusher coming out of spring.
You can't control everything. Well, Sorry, JJ.
Well, we had to shut the bottom off so cars and stuff, but some people didn't walk down. And please do not put your children in the creek, because water is moving. We have signs, we have stuff saying please don't do that, but just as safety measure. We had maybe one, but they didn't put them in. They were getting close, but we We stopped them from doing it, but just be safe when you're down there and make sure you're protected.
And there needs to be some parental accountability.
Yes, please.
They can't be everywhere, folks. You need to take care of your littles.
Yeah. But we opened up. Everything's back open again. We have disinfectants and stuff, similar to what our partners down here in Elizabethtown are doing. Our guys are going out now. The bathrooms are still closed, and it's because people may go in the bathroom often. We
can't have
we don't have
a
enough
bathroom
staff.
attendant.
Yeah, we don't have enough staff, and so that is one thing. If you do come out to the park, just be prepared for. Most of our parks have a gas station close by if someone really needs to get to the bathroom. But that's probably the only thing. But
Good heads up on that.
Yeah, our guys are going out and they have the tools to spray the playgrounds and everything in the morning, and I think they're doing afternoon and evening. But our parks are back open.
Good. We need those.
Yeah,
we need that outlet.
People need to get outside and just keep in mind, if you come out and you have to be in large group or something, under 50, and you can't social distance. And we're not out. And
you're not saying UK mask. You're just saying mask.
Just a mask. That's right.
Coffee goes anywhere, anytime.
I want to make sure that everybody knows that we're not out there on top of you saying you got to split apart.
You don't want to be the mask police.
We're
you
not
just
doing
want people
that.
to make good choices.
Yeah, we're not doing that. We hope you can police yourself and do the right thing. If you're a family that came there together, that go home together, that eat together, that we'll
leave you alone.
Yeah, we're not talking about that.
Yeah.
We're just talking about people that are congregating and
because we are social beings.
Yeah, that are not from
it's
that.
tough.
So,
it's tough.
Yeah.
Well, I'm afraid we're out of time.
Are we out of time?
We are out of time.
Right, well,
thank you so much. I know you probably have at least 3 phones in there you need to respond to.
Well, it's good seeing you. I mean, I want to say why we're being recorded. It's good seeing you because I haven't.
Thank you.
It's been a while. I know when you pulled in, I didn't know who was interviewing me today. When I pulled in, I was like, God, thank goodness it ain't Bryce Shoemaker. And I hope he sees that.
He said that, Bryce. He said that, not me. Awesome.
Yeah,
well, JJ, thank you.
Yeah, it's good seeing you.
Thank you, and please relay that to your people. We really, really appreciate you. We have no idea what's going on in the trenches. We really don't.
I know Gina's going to yell, but let me just add one last thing.
Sure.
I want to thank everyone. We've had people bring food. We've had people bring gift cards. We've had people, everyone has been great. We've had churches donate stuff to our staff, to the public works guys, our police, our fire.
I love those highlights.
And so thank you.
Awesome.
Yep.
I want to end on that note. That is awesome. Thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to mask up. We care. We want you to stay healthy, happy, and safe. And we'll see you next week.